All right, another episode of ConVersate After Dark. Tay, what's up with you?
Everything's going good with me. What's going on with you?
It's all good. It's all good. Tell people where they can find us.
You can find us at ConVersate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show or you have a topic you want us to cover, you can reach us at CVAD podcast at gmail.com.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. It's been a minute. You can listen to our past episodes. Make sure you tell a friend. So, Tay, let's do the icebreaker.
All right. From 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself as a potential marriage partner and why?
Mm, I would say, I'm going to say 10. I would like to say 10, but I'll be modest and I'll say 8. Just because I know that there are some things that I am still somewhat working on in terms of um, allowing myself to be more vulnerable in certain situations and not being quick to say, you know what, forget about it, and either moving on because I don't want to have conflict because in my previous, relationship, there was a lot of conflict and, I'm really averse to that now. So I would say 8 because I feel like while I'm a good man, I'm a good provider, good protector, all those things, I don't think I'm perfect. So I would say 8, 8.5.
Okay. Um, if I haven't asked this question maybe 5, 6, 7 years ago, I would have said probably a 9 to 10.
Okay.
But now I say I'm maybe a 6.
Okay.
And I think it's because I'm getting used to being single
Yeah.
and I don't really know. I don't know if I have the desire to make a relationship work, to put in the effort with somebody again. I don't know if I have the effort to, I don't know, compromise anymore. Like I've always been overly compromising, overly accommodating. And I don't know if I have that in me anymore. I I I don't know. I
What
don't
makes
know.
you what makes you overly compromising?
Well, I'm an accommodating person anyway because I know for me, like going out to eat, there aren't really many foods that I don't eat. So like I'm not the type to put up a fuss about where we're going. I'm the type of person who can have fun doing anything. So I'm not gonna put up a fuss about what we do because normally I can go with the flow. I'm gonna go with the flow type person. You say, let's do this. I'm like, hey, let's do it. Let's have fun. I am somebody who's considerate of others. So I tend to think of others before me when it comes to in relationships, when it comes to things that I want to do or, things like that. And that's what I'm saying. I don't know if I have it in me to care about that anymore, to care about somebody else. I don't know. And maybe somebody will come along and will change my mind, but right now, I don't know. I don't know if I have it in me to want to, like I said, to want to compromise to, you know, myself to compromise my wants with somebody else's wants.
But you know that yeah, you don't have to be you know, all the way just conceding to the other person's whims and desires all the time. Like,
Yeah.
I
And
feel
I'm
like
not
it should be a healthy balance of, it's that saying, happy wife, happy life. And I think I've mentioned on this show before, like I'm not with that. My thing is happy spouse. We both should be happy. I don't know. I don't know how the saying goes, but
right.
I think that you can learn somebody, and y'all can both be satisfied with the things that you do in the relationship.
Right. I'm not saying that to say that I minded doing those things because I'm definitely not the type of person to do something I don't want to do. What I'm when I'm saying overly accommodating, what I'm saying is I can be happy doing almost anything. So that's what I'm saying. It doesn't matter to me. So that's why I tend to give in to a picky person because I know picky people, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not
I get
saying,
what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
yeah,
Like you're not just a pushover, but you're not somebody. Everything doesn't have to be a battle.
right, right, right.
And there's nothing worse than being somewhere with somebody that doesn't really want to do what you want to do. Like,
Yeah,
and you can tell, it's
yeah,
like, well, damn, we might as well just stayed at home. So
yeah,
I
yeah.
get it. No, I get it. I get it.
Right. And plus, like I said, I don't know if I want to get to know people again, if I want to spend that time figuring out if this is somebody I can trust, to figuring out if this is somebody who I don't know. I just don't know. I'm just not feeling it anymore.
So I think that that leads into the question I was going to ask. Are you healed? Because you've talked about how, you had some relationship, you know, things that really, I'm not going to say made you jaded. Maybe you feel it made you jaded, but it definitely put you in a place where you weren't looking positive on the male species. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. So you're available, but you're not healed. And can you be available for a relationship if you're not healed?
We've talked about this before. I kind of agree with what you were saying the last time we talked about it, that you don't necessarily all have to be all the way healed to be able to move on. I do agree with that. Um, am I healed or am I available?
Do you have to be healed to be so you don't so I think you just said you don't have to be healed to be available.
Right. I don't think you have to be all the way healed. I do think you have to be on that journey though. I
How
do. How far? Far enough to realize that some of the issue may have been you. A lot of people don't like to take take on that onus that some of it may have been them. Everybody always wants to, and this men and women, everybody always wants to blame the other person.
yeah.
I think when you're on your healing journey, you learn to take some of the responsibility for things that happen.
Yeah, and I think sometimes your responsibility doesn't mean that you necessarily did anything bad.
Right.
It may have been you weren't the best person to yourself, and
Yeah.
you didn't value yourself like you should have. And if you had, maybe at the beginning of the relationship, you could have nipped something in the bud and established a standard that
Hmm.
would have prevented things becoming the way that they did, where they just became untenable, and you were no longer you no longer wanted to be in the relationship.
Right.
And I think that's something that, like for me, and I don't know if I have the answer yet, but I had to start thinking like, okay, now what is it about me that's making my relationships when they end bad. Like it's good, we have our makeups to breakups or whatever, but when it's time for that breakup, it ends bad, like all the way bad. And I don't know if I have the answer yet because I'm
Hmm.
like, okay, am I just choosing the right women? Am the wrong women? I mean, am I choosing the wrong women? Or am I choosing women that, want to mistreat me and to be mean to me and things of that nature? And what is it about me that's choosing that type of woman? Or what is it about me that's bringing that out of them? And I don't know if I had the answer.
Hmm. Yeah, I can understand that. Because I just um within the past 5 years or so, 4 or 5 years, I have been taking a look back at all of my relationships just to see have there been any patterns? Because I'm quick to say no, there weren't any patterns because relationships ended for totally different reasons. Like I tried not to make the same mistake in the next relationship that was made in the previous one. But I have to say, is there something about me that I've kind of taken through the relationships and didn't realize at the time that it was me, or it was something that I needed to work on within myself. Even though those relationships may not have ended the same way, maybe it was something within me that helped that relationship, end or whatever.
What's been your longest relationship in terms of length, time?
Right. I get 6 or 7 years.
Okay.
Yes.
And see, mine
But
has
all of them have been 3 or longer. All of my relationships.
three is a solid relate. That's a solid relationship.
Hmm.
Because and I asked that because after my divorce, I've been in one and a half relationships, and they both lasted. Shoot, one lasted about 11 months, almost a year, and the other, I would say maybe 6 or 7 months. And the last one that I quasi relationship, it didn't end bad. I mean, it was just one of those deals where like, hey, I want this, you want that. We don't have time to waste, so let's do our different thing. And while that doesn't always feel good, at least you can respect it, right?
Hmm.
There's a level of respect there, and still, I won't say friendship because I'm not really keen on being friends with people that I used to date. But it's okay. Now those other relationships, the way they flamed out, I'm good. I'm good. We don't need to circle the block. We don't need to do any type of stuff like that at all. But I asked like how long have your relationships been? Because I think, and one of my friends told me this, in order for you to, figure out if you can be good at a relationship again, you got to practice. Like
Hmm.
you can't sit there and be like, I think I can go play for the team again if you don't get in the gym and shoot some shots, right? You got to practice.
Hmm.
And I do think that you need to get to a point where, okay, at least I can run up and down the court. Like I'm in shape enough to run up and down the court. I can hit a layup. I can shoot my free throws. I can run some basic plays like pick and roll or whatever. Now I might not be able to run the triangle offense yet. I might not be raining threes, but I can develop those skills to being good in a relationship again. But I think you make a very good point, and this is a trap that we're getting into as at the age that we are at, getting set in your ways and not wanting to, I guess another way to say it, compromise
Hmm.
and take somebody else into account. Um, Sometimes the benefits of that, they don't outweigh your peace by being by yourself.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
You get lonely? Are you lonely?
No, and I've never really been I've never been one of those women who always had to be in a relationship. So loneliness has never been something that I've dealt with because I like me. I like my company and I love the times when I'm by myself. So I'm not really lonely. And then maybe that's what's contributing to the fact that I'm like, mm, I don't know. I
I
think
would go ahead.
I think if I was lonely, I think maybe I would be searching for it a little bit more, or I would be hungry for a relationship a little bit more.
Yeah. I think that I do get lonely. I get lonely. Um, and there's certain aspects of a relationship that I miss.
Hmm.
Um, I travel a lot and I miss that, hey, I made it safely. I miss that, I miss that, hey, I made it safely. I miss that, hey, I can't wait to see you when I get back. I don't necessarily miss that. I got to call and check in all the time. And there's a fine line between, letting your partner know that you're okay and
Hmm.
then, having to check in. and checking in because like, okay, are you checking in because you out there doing dirt? Or I mean, because I'm I share my location, I'm Team Apple. So I share and I know Joy can do it too, but I share my location with, all four of my kids. And when I get into a relationship, I plan on sharing my location, with the woman that I get with.
Hmm.
Just because like I don't have anything to hide. And we've talked about how I get down. Um, it is what it is. But checking in just to, how like when you're young, you gotta where you at? I want to make sure you're not at some other chick's house or make sure you're not at a dude's house or anything like that. I saw something on social media where this chick was holding her friend's phone and she was like babysitting my friend's phone so that her man thinks she's at my house while she's out cheating.
Oh, that's so wrong. Oh
Could they share
gosh.
locations and shit?
Yeah.
I was like, that's something that I probably would have did with my boys. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Something like that would never cross my mind, but I'm not sharing my location with him. Not that I wouldn't share, but Android, we don't necessarily.
I got this Life 360. Y'all can do it. Don't y'all brag about, oh, we got apps. We can do different apps and all that
I
else.
mean, that's probably, but I don't, I've never used anything like that in any relationships I've been in.
So going into your next relationship, when it
Yeah.
happens, because I'm gonna claim it for you. When it happens, you wouldn't share your location?
Like I said, I would. I don't have a problem with that. I'm all about honesty. So yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that. It's just I've never even thought about it, before.
Thought about like the cheating aspect, like leaving your phone with your friend and
No, just never thought about. I mean, maybe because the people who make a big deal about sharing locations always seem to be Apple people, and I've always been Android. So I've never. So the thought of sharing my location has never come into play for me.
yeah. I actually, to me, there's a sense of now what I won't do is share my location with somebody who won't share theirs.
Hmm.
Like my best friend, he'd always be like, man, I gotta see where you at because you be making bad decisions and I gotta check on you. And I was like, well, then why you ain't sharing your location? You ain't gotta worry about what I do. And I'm like, well, then, man, well, shit, man, fuck you, dog. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna share my location with you. My kids are grown enough. They can, and boy, let me tell you, Tay,
Hmm.
they be checking. Especially,
Really?
especially my son. Like he be
Yeah.
like, what you doing what you doing in that side of town? Like, and I talked to some other people and they say like, like you get older, the roles start to reverse.
Hmm.
But I'm not old enough for that role to reverse. Like
Yeah.
I ain't even 50 yet. So motherfucker, don't worry about what I'm doing. I can see if like, I got balance issues or if or whatever, but at this age, mind your business. Um, and this young girl was telling me she be checking on her mama. And
Hmm.
she said, like, my mom will turn her location off. And I said, that means your mom up to doing no, she being grown when she turned it off. She said,
Yeah, true.
she was like, when she turned it off, I call her nonstop until she turned it back on. And I'm like, damn, these kids really be stalking like that.
Wow. That's crazy.
They really be stalking. But nah, I actually kind of look forward to sharing my location with my woman.
Hmm.
I look forward to that because I look forward to being cared for.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's the piece of like the loneliness that I miss. Cause like y'all, I know y'all complain about it, y'all roll y'all eyes. But a couple weeks ago, that's why I'm a little hoarse now. A couple weeks ago, I caught a little bug and I was a little sick. And I was like, shit, I ain't got nobody to take care of me. I'm up here, trying to make my own hot toddy and I ain't got nobody to rub no Vicks on my chest. I gotta do it myself, 'cause
Hmm.
we ain't nothing better than how your girl take care of you when you're sick.
I'm sure.
Yeah. But y'all swear we act like babies when we did.
Y'all do.
It's like that.
Yes. Yes. Y'all are annoying.
What's annoying about it?
Because it's because I was watching something on TV. Oh, it was an old episode of the Cosby Show. For Claire Huxtable was talking to her sister, and she was like, a woman could have this and this and this going on, giving birth to a baby and such, 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 such. A man has the sniffles and has to call out of work for a week. Like, I mean, that's an extreme, but
It,
that's usually how it goes.
there's a lot of truth to that. There's a lot of truth to that. But
Hmm.
I think what it is that as men, we have to power through so many things. And it's something about when you can't breathe out your nose and you got all kind of congestion in your chest or whatever, it hit different. I don't know. I think because y'all conditioned to being uncomfortable, because because of y'all cycles or whatever, y'all are conditioned to kind of like power through, not being 100% all the time. We're not. So when we're not 100%, we're not used to it, and it puts us down. That's just my own. I just thought about that. Why we are more impacted by it than you all are.
I heard a guy mention that not too long ago. That could be true. That could be true.
Yeah, because there's a lot of pressure on us as men, and I would just get I'm not in a relationship, not even close to being in one. Um, but I have good friends that worry about me and take care of me. And the one thing that they're always pushing me to do is to like get more rest and to put myself first. Um, and I appreciate it because I know it comes from love, right? But I'm a old school man's man. And I do go to the doctor, I get my checkups. Yeah, I'm not old school in that way, like something's wrong and I'm not going to go to the doctor. But we as men are conditioned to like always push through, sacrifice, do without for our women and for our family. And I'm wondering, is that still respected, wanted, and valued at this time? Or are women more willing to say, let me share some of that load so there's not so much on you?
I I do I do believe in this day and age, I do believe that men don't have to have all of that responsibility. You know that the statistic is that men tend to pass long before women.
Mhm.
And I think that's usually because y'all are holding so much in and you don't let it out. You don't share the wealth. Whereas we as women are like, I'm here. If you want to go religious terms, God put me here as your helpmate to help you. Let me help you. Like share some of that load. Maybe not everything. I mean, depending on how you were raised, how you were brought up, but some of that can be shared. And there are plenty of women. I don't know about the younger generation. I don't know. They scare me. But but I think there are plenty of women in our generation that are willing to share the load.
I saw something, and it was shared in our group, Cree Summer from Different World, the countless voiceovers, brilliant, brilliant actress. And she was talking about how she was telling a story about how her father, they put her to a gas station and they didn't have gas. And her father was just sure that it's going to work out. And she said that, and I'm paraphrasing, I may be changing some things up, but she said that in a relationship, something was going wrong, and like maybe they were worrying about ends meeting. And because her man at the time didn't respond in the way that her father did when he's facing those situations, because she made it seem like as if her father they just didn't have it. And dad, he would, I took it that he was like hook or crook, kind of like hustle man or whatever.
Hmm.
And there were a lot of women that said, that's what I want. I want my man to be confident in all situations. And I was like, if that's the type of woman you are, then you ain't the woman for me. Because yes, I know where my resources come from, right? We want to get religious, but I don't think it's a knock on me as a man if I'm worried about how I'm going to make sure that I provide for my family.
Yeah, I didn't take it as her saying, I didn't take it the same way you did. I took it as her father knew, okay, knew the situation, knew they didn't have. Yeah, we might be out here out of, that's out of luck, whatever. But let me see what I can do. Let me think about it, put my head together and see what I can come up with. He didn't just leave it as there's no hope. We don't have nothing. And I think that's what she when I looked at when I watched the interview, because I actually watched the whole thing,
Okay.
that's what I got from it. It's that thing of a problem comes up, you may not know how to fix it, but you just let it go. Whereas you should be trying to put your head together to figure out something, or let's put our heads together, see if we can figure out something together in terms of sharing the load. But yeah, I do want somebody who can see a situation, take a step back. Okay, this is what's going on. This is not good. Okay, I've dealt with the pain of it's not going great. Okay, now let me get solution oriented, because I'm a oriented person. If you tell me something's wrong, my first thought is, okay, how can we fix it? That's the type of man that I want too. Not someone who's going to, a problem comes up and he's just going to sit there and, oh, a problem came up. What am I going to do? Oh ho hum.
Yeah, you don't want to be that type of guy that just cowers in front of adversity.
Hmm.
You don't want to be that guy, but and maybe this is the problem with just watching clips. I try to be responsible with the clips that we make of our show to make sure that people get like the context of what we're talking about. And because you watched that full interview, you were able to see, okay, this is what she really meant. But by the clip, and it may have been because of from coming from a male perspective, that I saw it differently as well, because I saw it as a challenge to the type of man that I am.
Hmm.
Um, I'm always going to make it happen, hook, nook, or cranny. But I'm not hustle man. I'm not finna be out here doing scams or whatever. If we're going to make it, it's going to come from hard work. Or if I can't make it through hard work, then we just going to have to do without.
Yeah, I get that. So I put it like this. I was in a relationship with a guy who, at the time, he was in the military. So he had pretty much had a stable job.
Mhm.
But he did so many things outside of work. Like he could repair your house if you needed it. He could repair your car if you needed it. He did so many things that in my mind it was like, if we're this is me thinking about the future. If we're down on our luck somehow,
Yeah.
he can do so many things that I know he's going to bring in money somehow. That put me at ease, that put my nerves at ease when we were in a relationship anyway. And I think that's that type of mindset that a lot of women want when they want a guy who's a provider, even a traditional type of provider, even if they're willing to share, they just to share that providing for the family.
I
They
was like,
still
they gonna share the man.
no, that's not what I meant. Even if they're willing to share in providing, they still want that type of man that's going to go out here and say, I got it.
Yeah. I mean, I know like the 50-50 conversation is old to a lot of people. And we probably talked about it on the show before, but like I feel like there should be equal sacrifice
Hmm.
in a relationship. Um, when I was married, we were trying to figure it out. Unfortunately, both my parents were, my father had passed way before I got married. My mother passed away 3 weeks after I got married. And my parents weren't perfect, but they did give that stable marriage. I came from where people stay married in our
Hmm.
family. Again, doesn't mean that everybody was doing good or doing the right things, but that stability was there.
Hmm.
I didn't see abuse. I didn't see, you know, other than some cheating, I didn't see the men in my family dishonoring the women in our family, right? So that's what I came from. But you see it, but you still have to ask questions, right? When you get into that situation. And my wife at the time, that wasn't her story. That wasn't her story. So a lot of the things that we did was trial by error. So when we first got into the marriage, it was like, okay, I'm gonna pay all the bills. You're gonna save money, and then we're gonna be able to build a future that way. But that's like telling somebody, okay, we need to get to that mountain and not giving them a map to get there. And then we
Mhm.
figured out, yeah, she wasn't saving. I'm not trying to throw her on the bus, but she wasn't saving no money. We weren't getting to where we needed to get, and that's because we didn't have a plan. You
Mhm.
know, this is what I want to be, but how do you get it without a plan? So then it got to be like, okay, we're not making the same amount of money. You pay this, I pay that, and then we'll try to kind of just make it seem as fair as possible. And then I talked to an older woman at my job, and she was like, no, whatever you make, whatever she make, it goes into one pot. Y'all pay whatever y'all got to pay, and then you split the rest. And I think Dave Ramsey, he has that mentality or whatever, right? You know, you
Mhm.
got the different envelopes to pay whatever bills. But I'm gonna tell you, for whatever issues we had, money wasn't one of them. I
Mhm.
think that's because there was that equal sacrifice. One person didn't feel as if, oh, they getting over on me.
Yeah.
So the 50-50 conversation and the man just taking shouldering all now, if you just got it like that and you making enough money to where you can spoil your woman like that, more power to you. More power to you. That's I think most men want to be able to put their wives in that type of situation. But the reality is a lot of us can't do that. And I don't think that we should be looked at negatively because we can't.
I agree. Yeah, I don't. Because I don't. I have always felt that people should do what works best for them.
Mhm.
That's my thoughts in relationships. Anyway, relationships, marriages, whatever. Even though I've never been married, I'm just listening to people who have been married. What works for this couple may not work for that couple. This couple may be able to do 100-0. This couple may have to do 50-50.
Yeah.
Other couples do whatever comes up, we both pay, so whatever works for you is what works for you. But that comes always go back to communication. You have to talk about stuff, trial and error sometimes, but yeah.
So realistically, and there's no wrong answer and there's no judgment. Could you be with a man that you made more money than?
I have been. I've dated I can't say I've dated someone who's filthy rich, but I've dated someone who was well off. So I've dated up and down the financial spectrum. And there was a time when I was making more than the guy that I was dating.
Did that impact you all in a negative way?
No.
Well, wait. Were y'all sharing bills or were y'all
No,
just
no, 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 no. We just were just this relationship. We weren't living
that
together.
because that makes a difference.
I'm sure it does. I'm
Yeah.
sure it does. But he sometimes listens, so I don't know if I want to
All
say.
right, we're gonna keep going then.
But no, I'll say in the realm of dating, it did not affect. I mean, if I knew that if I wanted to go somewhere like to an expensive restaurant, I knew that the bill was gonna be on me. It's just things like that. I just knew, but he paid for other things. It wasn't. But again, I'm a go with the flow type of person.
You didn't emasculate him. You never.
Right, right.
And what's funny is, black women traditionally, I think statistically, they're the most educated. And a lot of times what comes of that is their salaries are higher than a lot of black men. I have been, I would say, not in relationships, but situationships. How you define? I was dating people. I've dated people that have made more money than me. And the way I carry it, I still pay. I don't care that you make more money than me. Me as a man, this is what I want to do. And that became problematic for them because they're like, why are you taking on all of this load when you don't have to? And matter of fact, with our group of friends over the weekend, we were talking about that, and it was just like, I was like, because I come from the school of let a man be a man, let a man be a man, and part of that is when we out, I'm covering this, I'm taking care of this. That's just how I'm wired to do. But I can see why it's problematic because too many women that I know have said it's not fair to you or to me for you to not allow me to be good to you at times. Um, and that's we talk about that healing journey and being available. I know that's
Mhm.
something that I need to work on. I mean, is it a major thing? Because I never understood why some women feel why it was so important to say, okay, let me pay. Because for me, I can't speak for other guys, but for me, you and I have went out to dinner. We're friends, right? If I take you out to dinner, Tay, it's because I want to hang with you. I enjoy our conversations. I enjoy the experience when I'm hanging out with you while we're getting something to eat, right? I'm not that type of guy just to say, all right, now I didn't took you to this restaurant. Now you owe me some shit. I don't come like that. And I know there's some dudes that do, but why is it so important for some women to feel like I have to pay when we go out and do something?
I think for women, we want to take, um, yeah, I'm gonna say, I think we like to take care of our partners. And paying a restaurant bill every now and then, I I think that's part of it. And it's about showing our appreciation, showing our love. Yes, we can cook you a meal. Yes, we can do other things to help you, but that going out and paying every now and then is part of that. And then back to let a man be a man. I'm not sure if paying every once in the blue moon is taken away from a man from a guy's manhood. I mean, I take my grandparents for instance. My grandfather was definitely a man's man. But when we went out to eat, my grandmother always paid for her own food. My grandfather paid for his own, unless it was like an anniversary or birthday or something like that. That was but my grandfather paid all the, he paid all the household bills except for the little minor things. But that was their relationship. But that didn't make me look at my grandfather any less because he didn't pay for my grandmother when they went out to eat. I just think that's something small that I don't know. Depends on your mentality, I
But
guess.
see, I mean, I can see why you would think it's small if that wasn't, if you didn't see that. If you didn't see that, then I could see why you would feel that way. The way my guys, the way we get down, the women don't pay. If we're out, we don't pay. And again, I have multiple friends. 'Cause I got a lot of women who are friends. Um, and they say, well, I don't want you to feel like just because maybe it may be a time where you don't have it, and then we can't hang out because you don't have it. And I want to spend time with my friend, talk, catch up, and we can't do that because maybe you got to wait till payday comes, and that's not fair. I get that, but and I get what you're saying. That shouldn't be a blow to my masculinity, but it's just I believe in gender roles. I do. I believe the men should take out the trash, right? If we hear some noise, I need to go down and check it out. I believe in gender roles. And when that balance is thrown off, I don't like it. I don't like it. That's just me.
I
And I may,
get
and I may be a dinosaur. I may be
it.
Neanderthal or whatever, but that's just how I'm wired. So
No,
hope
I get it. I go back to my grandparents. They operated under gender roles. My grandmother took care of the house. My grandfather took care of the yard. My my like I said, my grandfather paid the mortgage and all the major bills. My grandmother took care of the telephone and her credit cards. Like that's really where her money went to, you know. Um, I just they did operate under gender roles. It's just when they went out to eat. Or
Are
like when
you
we go out to eat as a family, she always paid for herself.
are you for or against gender roles?
I'm for whatever works for that couple, works for that couple. I don't think,
Now that's smart. That's smart.
yeah, and I there are I'm a modern day woman. I do believe I can cut the grass. I can change the oil. I can change the
Right.
tire. Let me finish.
Right.
I can my ex taught me how to do drywall. I can tile the floor. I can do all that stuff. But if there's a man around, I don't want to do it. So I
So
do. But if I see that my man is stressed out, if there's anything I can do to help lessen that load, I will do it.
so let me tell you this. Um, Part of the gender roles is mowing the yard, um, changing the tire. I don't know how to drywall, and I don't know how to change oil in these new cars. I ain't gonna front. I don't know how to change oil in the old school cars. I'm just not. I'm not mechanical in that way. And I don't know if I'm just being honest, that I'm secure enough to, to sit there if you was my gal to be like, well, let me show you how to drywall. Nah, fuck that. We're gonna go hire somebody to do it, and you might sit there and be tight because I know how to do that. We could just say that money. No, no, I'm gonna hire somebody to do it. Because one thing my mama always told me, she said, you better get a good education and be able to pay to get stuff done. Because if your ass don't know how to do this shit, you better pay somebody. So you better make sure that you can take care of it.
You know, one of the hardest things that I've ever had to do in terms of dating someone. I caught a flat tire at this one point. And again, I can change a tire. But I was dating this guy. So I called him up. My grandfather had given me I had borrowed, he didn't give it to me. I had just borrowed. He had this kit that you could plug up to the cigarette lighter and it worked just like the things at the auto shop that zip zip with the
Yeah.
nuts on the tires. So I called the guy that I was dating. He came over to do it. And so I gave him the tool and he was connecting the thing wrong. And I was like, just let me do it. Like I could have done it and been, and been over with, but that's me trying to let him be a
Was
man.
was it
And
that he did not know to use that particular device, or he just didn't know how to change a
no,
tire?
he knew how to change a tire. It was he got one of the nuts stuck on the drill part wrong because he did it wrong or something. And I just didn't want to tell him that he did it wrong because I didn't want to mess with his ego. But the whole time I was like, this is not right. This is not right. Because I saw it happening before it actually happened.
Eh, you handled it the right way.
I know, but that was the hardest thing. I won't say that's the hardest thing, but
But see, I'm wise enough to be like, first of all, 'cause I live in Texas, it's hot. So if I don't know how to use that shit. Let me just do whatever, whatever, and I would how I use this or whatever. I don't. That to me is not that big a deal. But if you just doing major maintenance around the house, no, no, we're not doing that. No. No, and it's even I see I've dated a lot of chicks that didn't have good relationships with their daddies. But if you called your daddy to come over and he fixes some shit around the house, you gonna really have to manage that. You're gonna have to manage like, hey, Pops, can you come over and work with Marv while y'all do this? Because most men, they'll accept leadership from another man when they know that that's not their wheelhouse. Most men who got some damn sense, right?
Mhm.
So if you called your dad over, it's like, hey, can you come help? Well, make it seem like it's my idea. It's like, well, I'm gonna call my dad, come over, just help you and shit. Then that'd be cool. Versus you just saying, I'll call my daddy over here to do it. No, you won't.
Oh, my father was definitely the call the people and have them come over and do it type. He was not he
That's
was
me.
not the type to do it himself.
And
Not saying he couldn't, but he wouldn't. He was.
you know what's crazy? I remember one time we had moved to Nebraska, and in Texas, everybody just pays for the lawn service, right? Pay for lawn service, $30 a week, whatever, just pay it. We was in Omaha, it wasn't as hot, and I was mowing the yard. And my wife at the time was like, that was so sexy watching you mow the yard. I'm like, what? I'm just out here sweating and shit, trying to get it done as fast as possible. And you was like, and I've seen other women say, like, watching a man do manual labor is sexy to them. And my thing is like, what should be sexy is that I got enough money to save my goddamn back and keep from having a heat stroke and make sure this thing still runs.
They
Right?
both are. Like I said, I had the ex who could do all of that stuff. And I've had the ex who could call and get it done. My thing is, especially when it comes to cars, I don't know why I'm like this with cars. I don't want to have to handle anything. So whatever you got to do to make sure my car is running good, I'm good with it. Whether you fix it or you call somebody to fix it or take it to somebody to fix it, I'm good. Just take care of it. Both of those are sexy to me.
Now I'm the king of, your tires bald. We gotta get your oil changed, registration done. Hey, I'm gonna drop you off for work so I can get these things done. Now, I can do all that now. If you gotta pop that hood, I can change the battery, right? The windshield wipe, very minor stuff. I can do that. But if we talking about, hey, I need a new transmission or some shit like that, no, no, no. And that I understand wanting to be in a relationship with somebody like that, but that ain't me. That ain't me. But I got a question.
Hmm.
You or wouldn't you? Now I know the answer to this, but for the podcast sake, I'm gonna start. Would you send a nude to somebody that you are not dating or in a relationship with?
At this point in my life, no.
What changed?
I've gotten older, I've gotten wiser.
Okay, Marvin Sapp.
I mean, that's pretty much what happened.
Uh,
Not
yes.
that I would just send them out just willy-nilly, but yeah, it has to be more of a commitment now.
Yes, I still would. Just because I'm not ashamed and I'm not, you ain't seeing everything, right? But sometimes, you might, how social media, online banter goes and y'all talking and whatever. And so, I'll shoot you a little something. I'll send it to you. I'll send it to your DM on LinkedIn.
Oh gosh, not on LinkedIn.
Now, I'm not. It's not something that's totally out of the realm of possibility. If she's got game,
Mhm.
if she's got game, and if I think that she's going to play fair and send one back. When I first got into the whole send nude game, I had to really. Sometimes chicks be sending nudes and it ain't them,
Yeah.
and I said, man, you dirty, but this ain't even near your damn complexion. You ever did that tell you ever seen somebody else?
No, I've never done that.
They do that. They go on.
I've witnessed a guy do that though.
They'll go on OnlyFans and Pornhub or some shit and crop the video and be like, "This me right here," and send it to you.
Yeah, I know women do that. I've heard of women doing that, but I've never done it. And like I said, I've witnessed a guy do it before.
Wait, wait, wait. What you wit? First of all, how did you witness it? And then
So
second of all, what did he do? Like,
back when Facebook used to be the Wild Wild West. They used to let you do
Yeah,
everything. And these Facebook groups were wild.
yeah, yeah. They were.
So I was in a group where people would post and post and post. So the guys were posting one day, and this guy pointed out that this picture that a guy posted in the group was his picture. And
Oh shit.
I'm a researcher. I don't delete anything. So that's why I don't like people lie to me because I keep everything. I will research to a mug. I will. But anyway, so I went back, in Facebook groups, you can go back through
Yeah.
to the pictures. So I went all the way back through all the pictures that was in the group, found the original picture, and it definitely was another guy's picture.
Did you call him out? Did anybody
The
call
other guy had already called him out, so he left the group because he was embarrassed. But
him? Damn, why would he do that?
I didn't want to show his, but still wanted to be in the group because the women were posting too. So, you in a group where the women are posting. Of course, the guys want to be in there.
Well, why not just go and get you a random ping? I assume it was a dick pic.
Yeah,
Why
yeah.
not just go get you a random dick pic from the net and post it if you're gonna do
I don't know. That's a good question. That's a very good question because that would have been the same thing to do.
that? Wow. Wow. No, I've never that's weird.
It is very weird.
That's I mean, I think it's weird for double standard. It's weird for a guy to do it. It's super sneaky and deceptive for a woman to do it.
Yeah, I get it. It's both. Yeah, I get that. I get that double standard. I get it.
So anyway, tell people where they can find us.
You can find us at ConVersate After Dark everywhere. And if you would like to be a guest on the show, you can reach us at CVAD, the podcast at gmail.com. Make sure you like this video, share it, subscribe, and leave us a comment.
That's right. Go to our website, www.conversateafterdark.com. Check out the past episodes. We'll catch you next time. Peace.
Bye.